Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Weird Way Media. Welcome back to Midnight Viewing. It's one of our patented holiday specials. And this one's all about love, you crazy kids. We're rounding up. I realize that's my other show and kind of a plug, but I'm good with it. We're rounding up all of the best of Night Gallery segments dedicated to love and all the terrible consequences to be had. Now, this is a Valentine's Day special, so I'm tempted to dive headfirst into the manufactured nature of the holiday, and how it, like all initially pleasant days meant to focus on friendship or family or your beloved, and turned it into a money-grubbing cash grab, but it's all a cash grab lately, so let's not be cynical. Not with love. I mean, the segments we're going to be talking about are terrifically cynical. It's Night Gallery, gang. But we are not listening in the spirit of, yeah, but what can you do? Or, hey, that's the way life goes. No. We are celebrating love, you and I. And no amount of scientific theory about dopamine or early conditioning can explain away the genuine magic when it comes to love, nor can it diminish its power. I think we all need a little bit more of it right now. But let's not forget the cynicism. We'll need that as well. To that end, I've collected 6 stories from our time dwelling in the Night Gallery, all dealing with love in its various guises and all demented in their outcome. So stay strong, everybody. And if you think you have no love, especially if you think you have no love, rest assured, love isn't a wave, it's a fucking tsunami. And it'll get us all eventually.
Painting number 1. It's titled The Dead Man. An interesting meeting between flesh and bone, between that which walks and that which, you should excuse the expression, gets buried. So we submit for your approval this and other frozen moments of nightmare placed on canvas.
In this episode, Carl Betz is a doctor who has encountered an unusually young man who has the power under hypnosis to embody any physical ailment. What did you think of this, Chris?
I like that they're talking about something that I inherently have an interest in, which is the usage of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. I think that's interesting. I think it's an interesting place to go. Obviously, this is like you had mentioned, this is a teleplay based on a pre-existing short story, which would lead me to believe that I understand now why it was such a novel concept, because it's pretty high concept stuff. I liked it. The ending is straight out of Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, ain't it.
Oh, certainly
Other
is.
than that, the ending's still funny and humorous. I think it's an interesting, if we're calling this now episode 1, I think it's an interesting, if this is the first thing that you saw versus the last thing being the first thing you saw, I think this still does a good job of setting the table, the stage, whatever you want to call it, for what is to come, similarly to the way the cemetery set the stage for the previous pilot.
Okay, yeah, I really liked this. I love Jeff Corey, and I was so happy when they showed that dead body on the table. It was Michael Blanchett, because I was just like, "You're a broad! You're a goddamn ugly broad!" Yeah, you're broad, Barzinski. Yeah, I was very happy to see him. That was nice. And yeah, this whole idea of the hypnosis, I wish they would have done the third segment of the hypnosis to do 2 where it works and 1 where it doesn't. And maybe they did, but they might have just been condensed together in my head, because it felt like they really went from this to this. And the screw up, the accidental screw up, and this whole idea of your mind's tricking you and all this kind of stuff. I was like, that's interesting. And then I did also like that Dr. Max Redford is just openly cuckolded by his wife, but he seems okay with it as long as he's getting his jollies medically. Then it was okay. So interesting. And yeah, I think having Fritz Lieber behind the original typewriter, I thought really loaned this some credibility and some more interesting turns than we normally would get in a short segment like this.
Yeah, I agree. What's weird is this episode and the next one are going to typify a theme that I noticed running throughout Night Gallery, which we're going to be looking at marriage a lot. We're going to be looking at marriage in the late 1960s, early 1970s, shot through from a horror anthology standpoint. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting aspect of this one. I too loved I think the concept of hypnosis, and coupled with what we don't understand about the brain, is a very fertile concept, and we've seen it before. This segment, all deference to Fritz Lieber, actually reminds me of an Edgar Allan Poe story called The Facts in the Case of M. Valdemar, where a man is put under hypnosis and then dies, but remains constant in our world, but his body is slowly decaying. It felt very much like that. Yeah, Jeff Corey is the Doctor, by the way. I love him. I love seeing him in anything he is. And oddly enough, he ends up directing about 9 segments of the particular series that we're watching. I didn't know he was that prolific a director, but I guess he and Rod must have gotten along. And Louise Sorel, the wife in it, she's going to appear later in an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story called Pickman's Model. I love all the acting in this. I love the concept. The ending is a little, forgetting the code is a bit much. I think you're right, Mike. We needed a moment where we saw him do that once, at least once. Like the second time he fucks it up, and then the third time everything works fine, and then we've at least got some basis for it happening. But I do love the final bit, particularly the sort of use of the flashlight.
When she goes screaming to the cemetery, good thing there's a cemetery right next door to this house. And then when she goes screaming out and she doesn't stop screaming,
oh my God,
I was laughing quite a bit.
So good. And I love the very theatrical banging out of the sort of Morse code on the lid of the coffin. But when the Doctor finally shows up, and the sort of the one tracking shot, and it's handheld, like, it's so immediate and wonderful. Look, that final makeup, it's not technically a makeup, it's like it's a mannequin, if it's anything at all.
It's a mannequin.
That's not
a little too desiccated to be actual makeup.
It's not great, but the effect is pretty fantastic.
It's pretty creepy. I like it.
I did not like
it's equivalent to Norma Bates in Psycho. It's that level of but the way it's lit, right? That's key.
We do need to talk about the horrible day for night. However, during that entire sequence, it was like day for mid-afternoon. It was like, and it wildly, like, the quality jumped from shot to shot. Like, it was like clearly daylight, and then suddenly it was nighttime. I don't know. That didn't do this segment any service, but overall, I really like this one. And I think it maintains the promise from what we got in the pilot. A year later, they seem to be shooting for a bit of a higher quality across the board, which I really liked.
It reminded me of Tales from the Crypt episodes as well. It had that very gothic feel to it, which I appreciate. I appreciated that. And I appreciate that they have this kind of modern idea set in a ostensibly gothic setting. It's this mansion on these grounds with a cemetery. I don't know what's more gothic than having a cemetery in your backyard, but I would wager that having a cemetery with mausoleums in your backyard is pretty goddamn gothic.
Oh, yeah.
I like the concept. I like the finale, but I like you said, Mike, I wish there was just a little bit more to build that tension of, okay, is it going to work this time or no? And they just go right into the second one of, no, it's not working this time. Sorry. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Shit, we're just getting to know these characters.
Right.
I like, too, that you don't see the finale, that it's just the horror of it from Corey's POV. I had a little trouble, and when the door was answered and she just looked so rough, I was like, okay, how long has it been? I wasn't really sure how long it was until they showed how desiccated. What's his name in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls? Is like Lance Rock or whatever. But I was so glad when they showed just how desiccated he was. I was like, oh, okay, so it's been a while, but I wish it would have been like, I haven't seen you in 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely needed that. I think I think, like you said, the state of her was supposed to tell us that it's been some time, but that could have been a week later, for Christ's sake, if you're that grief-stricken. So, yeah, that needed to be more clear. But I got to say, at the very end, in that shot with the flashlight panning around, the shot of her as catatonic was particularly haunting. She did a good job.
Nice.
It was good.
Oh, yeah.
I love a character going insane at the end of a horror thing.
We offer for your approval a still life, if you will, of noise. A soundless canvas suggestive of sound. The mouth belongs to Pamela. In life, a shrieking battle axe made up of adenoids, tonsils, and sound decibels. In death, an unmuted practitioner of fishwifery, undeterred and ungagged by what one would assume to be the great silencer. Some ghosts come back to haunt. Others come back simply to pick up where they left off. Our painting is called Pamela's Voice, and this is the Night Gallery.
Now, Pamela's Voice was written by Rod Serling, directed by Richard Beckert, and stars Phyllis Diller and John Astin only. It's about a murderous husband who discovers that all too late that the difference between heaven and hell. Chris, you want to start on this one?
Can I tell you guys something funny?
Sure.
Yes.
I didn't know that was what Phyllis Diller looked like.
Oh, really?
Wow. Did you just know her as a toon puppet?
An older person
Oh.
in her 70s and 80s. Like when I didn't know, I knew because the episode told me, but I was like, that's Phyllis Diller?
Yeah.
Like I only really think of Phyllis Diller when she tells when she's in what the fuck is that movie called? The Aristocrats.
Oh, okay.
She's in The Aristocrats.
She was the voice of the queen in A Bug's Life. Yeah.
Yeah. But she didn't look like Phyllis Diller. Outside of that, though, Gomez Adams killing his wife. Come on. John Astin's great.
Are you saying come on like you can't believe they made him kill his wife? Or are you saying like, hooray?
No, I'm saying come on. It's very tongue-in-cheek, given that the character that he is more or less known for playing loves his wife immensely. And in this, he's like, yeah, fuck you. If this is hell, I'll die again. Like, all right.
I love that I grew up with Phyllis Diller. Just she was always there for the longest time. Just always there. TV, movies.
There were so many more variety shows and stuff on TV all the time. On talk shows all the time.
Well, she was even the monster's mate in Mad Monster Party. So we've talked a little bit about her before.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, very bad. But she was just doing Phyllis Diller. You know, it's
Fang.
kind of her thing. Yeah. And literally, yeah, because Fang was like the
Right.
husband.
Yep.
I barely remember this one. It really made a big impression.
Yeah, because nothing happens. Yes, the simplicity and beauty of it is the brevity. And
To be fair, though, was there any more that they could have given us and or that we needed?
not really.
No.
Look, it's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in 2 minutes with ghosts. Look, it suffers from the Rod Serling overly writeritis, and it is bottled and whatever. But like you said, Chris, it's quick.
Doesn't
So-
overstay its welcome.
Definitely.
Mhm.
And some of their barbs at one another are actually pretty good. Like when she shows up as a ghost, seemingly for the first time, she says, "You're surprised to see me?" And he says, "No, I'm not surprised. You showed up everywhere uninvited your entire life. Why should anything be different now?" That's good. I will say they treat lightly the notion at the end, which is this isn't a ghost story at all. She's in heaven and he's in hell simultaneously, right? That's what's going on here, which is really metaphysical and fun for a brief little morsel at the beginning of this episode.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was having a hard time understanding that conceit. Her heaven is just
Her heaven is torturing him by talking.
Okay.
And his hell is being tortured by her from talking. It's like an O. Henry story in a way.
Yeah, I know. Again, it didn't overstay its welcome. John Astin's a good actor. He's great in everything I've seen him in. The Frighteners being one of those things. He's okay. He's not the best part of that, but he's the father of Sean Astin. He's the original Gomez Addams.
And not only is he playing against type here, but he underplays everything. He's really spooky how quiet he is. I've never seen a performance like that from him before. So that was really welcome and interesting.
No, I liked this segment a fair amount only because it doesn't overstay its welcome. And the twist at the end is nice. It's a cheeky little twist.
Mhm.
It is. The jokes are not really that funny. I've praised it for landing a few, but I don't know. It accomplished what it set out to, which is a couple hating each other and now they're trapped together forever. And good for them.
And look, Twilight Zone 1985 did that. They had those brief segments, those little, essentially what amounted to interstitials.
Mhm.
It can work if they know what they're
A couple of those are spectacular.
Children's Zoo. Yeah. Dreams for Sale was literally the name of the show.
I never really realized until we started doing this show how much John Astin had to do with Night Gallery.
I know, right? Because he directed a segment we've already talked about. He's in this one. He's in another one. I can't wait till we get to that one because I remember it being hilarious. Like his performance is so good. I think he directs one more too, at least one more.
Which is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez
Yeah.
Louise. Yeah, I don't think of John Astin as anything other than an actor. So it's interesting because we have already seen him direct something. And that was okay. I don't think he brought anything to it.
The failure wasn't the direction.
No.
You did with what you could. Like the ultimate failure of the Tom Bosley Steven Spielberg episode is not the direction. It's the terrible script. And
Yeah.
but at least here, you can't go wrong with two people just throwing barbs at each other and then getting a pretty decent twist.
No, yeah, and it doesn't overstay its welcome either, which is the important part because they could have shown him killing her, given us a couple scenes of them. I don't need that. Like they can do that through dialogue, and it's fine. And they did, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's a rare instance where it's strength to just have them talking to each other. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like they're trying to skimp on a budget.
Oh, it's just a room of people talking. That's what this is. It's just everything in this episode segment is just much more well thought out.
You dig? Boot Hill, baby. I love that line too in the middle of it. Like, he just throws that out.
From this picture, one wouldn't necessarily conjure up the story of love, but that's precisely what it tells about. The emotion as old as man, but the object of the emotion, this is not quite as familiar. Its title, Phantom Farmhouse, offering #1 in the Night Gallery.
Now, the first segment is called The Phantom Farmhouse. This was written by Halsted Wells, based on a short story by Seabury Quinn, and directed by Jeannot Jouark. Stars David McCallum, David Carradine, Linda Marsh, Trina Parks, and Bill Quinn. I just want to point him out because are you guys at all familiar with the ventriloquist by the name of Jeff Dunham? He's got this old man character named Walter, who Bill Quinn just looks like the living embodiment of. It was very odd.
Thanks for reminding me that Jeff Dunham exists.
I know. Look, I didn't want to bring him up or promote him in any way, but
Las Vegas's own Jeff Dunham, you mean?
that's right. He's a hometown boy. Now, this story concerns an unorthodox psychiatrist who investigates the mysterious murders plaguing his patients, and there are wolves involved. What do you think of this one, Mike?
I felt this segment made me feel stupid because I could not figure out what the heck was going on. All these people in this tree, and David Carradine, maybe he's a Satanist. I don't know. What? Please explain this one to me because I just was not getting this one at all.
It's very confused, but
It of itself is confused.
but here's what happened.
Okay.
Bear with me.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Listeners, I didn't come up with this. All right. So
No, somebody by the name of Seabury Quinn did, and then somebody named Halstead Wells adapted it, then somebody named Jeannot Swark directed it. Those three names together should give you an idea of where we're going with this. It's pretty all over the place.
You know what, though? If you read the original short story, Seabury Quinn, who was a writer. Like all of his contemporaries were the Weird Tales guys. So it was like Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft and like all of the sort of the giants, as it were. And he created a character named Jules de Grandin, who is like a paranormal investigator. And he's got like a whole series of these stories, and they're all great. In addition to that, Seabury Quinn was like a mortuary lawyer. That was his primary function. He published a magazine called Caskets and Sunshine or something.
Wow.
And if you read the original story, it's much more simplified. I'll give you the short story version, and you'll understand exactly what it is. This guy checks himself into an asylum in Maine, in this case, right, which is right across the border from Canada, which is why there are French-speaking characters in the story.
I had a lot of questions. Why the hell everybody's speaking French all of a sudden?
Thank you. That helps.
Pulled over for no good reason.
Wow.
He's allowed to walk the grounds, and he walks and finds a house with a family, a mother and a father, and a beautiful girl who seems dressed from another age, and they have an instant connection, but she's very odd and keeps him at a distance. Nevertheless, when he comes back to the asylum and tells the people about it, they're like, you must really be crazy because there's no house out there, just a ruin. And then he continues visiting with the girl and her family. And then there's this business with people being attacked by wolves in the thing, talk of it. But none of that is put together forthrightly. It's basically, is he insane or not, is the thing back and forth, because he going to the asylum and they're crazy, but they're telling him he's crazy, but he's actually seeing the people. They are a family of werewolves and they are dead. So they're ghost wolves or wereghosts. It ends basically the same way. So there's no character feeding these people or luring them, or there's no warlocks and all this other shit. It's just they let him know that family who lived there were renowned as potential werewolves. Stay away from there. And they are, and it's more of a Romeo and Juliet with the two warring factions where her parents want to eat him and the rest of them think he's crazy and trying to keep them apart. And then she makes the sacrifice, just exorcise me and my family will go away and the countryside will be fine, but I'll lose you. But if I stay with you, I'm going to murder you because I'm a wolf. The end. Now, how that turned into tree pads and groovy talk and moccasins and Thumper from goddamn You Only Live Twice, I don't know, but I did enjoy it.
Glad you did. The only note I have is crow noises and two random French dudes. There are crow noises up the wazoo in this episode.
Perfect segue there, Chris. Mike already knows where we're going with this. Another thing I like to point out in these episodes, the second season, are performers who probably don't have the spotlight shine on them enough. In this case, featured only once in this episode, but I think we all know it. It's about 25 years old at this point. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably know that from everything. Most of these sound effects ended up being used on Sesame Street a lot. That's a Count Von Count, if I've heard one. Its actual name is Single Classic Wolf, although sometimes it's called Single Coyote, which I think is racist. The first appearance of it, this was created by the Disney Sound folks. It appeared in a segment called Bongo, which was part of a Fun and Fancy Free in 1946. There you go. We love you, Single Classic Wolf. You're joining Castle Thunder in the pantheon of sound effects here. I like this episode a little bit. I did like how off off kilter, it seems, and I don't know what's going on for so long. Like it had the feeling of the sort of abstract set at the beginning when they're all on these pads. We find ourselves at an asylum kind of, but everyone's outside and they're all groovy and they're on these pads that are wrapped around these trees, and it's really weird. All that stuff was disconcerting, and I was like really enjoying it. And then when we go meet the girl, who in this one, David Carradine is telling everyone that they have to go there. He's like trying to lure them out there to be killed. And he tells everyone who sees this girl is going to fall in love with her. And when we see her, it's this Loretta Lynn wig that's been bottle blonded. And
her bangs are great.
Oh my
The bangs on that wig are just chef's kiss.
Spectacular. And the dress itself, this voluminous ball gown looking.
I don't understand where you people are from. What time and place? That's all David McCallum needs to say. It's like, who the fuck are you? I don't understand how anyone in their right mind would be like, oh, you clearly belong here. Mm-hmm. You are so out of time and out of place. It's beyond obvious. They don't even try.
What's the weird thing about that is it's like they could have. Her parents are dressed. It could have been faked. It could be 1971. They're dressed basically in coveralls. They just look like poor farmers. Why, if that's what they were wearing in like 1871, why was she dressed not like them? Like, she's not at a cotillion or anything. She's dirt poor like her parents, and she's a werewolf. Why does she even have the dress? It doesn't make sense.
Is she a werewolf or is she a dog?
They couldn't afford wolves.
They could afford dogs, though.
I was wondering about that, too. Because when they showed the dog, I was like, oh, the dog must be running away from the wolf. Because I kept hearing the wolf, and I was just like, why is this dog running away?
That's not a problem. This was like a 2-day shoot. And according to Jenna Swark, the dogs were like the nicest dogs in the world, and they wouldn't even want to chase anything anyway. So it's impressive that they got any shots at all. But obviously, they're were-dog ghosts, wolvy ghostertons. I don't know.
Were-dog ghosts. Are you asking us a question?
You know what it reminds me of? There's a quote from Big Trouble in Little China. Egg Shen is talking about all the different disciplines that they're all drawing from. He's like Buddhism and Confucianism, and we take what we want and leave the rest. Like a salad bar. That's what this felt like to me. It's like they are werewolves, so you got to have the pentagram on the hand, but they're also ghosts.
It is titled The Phantom Farmhouse, so there must be phantoms involved.
The phantom reasoning, the phantom logic. Like,
it felt like a really somehow poorly done. It feels like a poorly done episode of Tales from the Crypt, like an EC Comics story. That's what it feels like.
When they had all those people in the tree, I kept thinking, these are aspects of his personality, and they are fighting within his mind.
Wow, that would have been good.
And then it just, when David Carradine came out of the tree, I was like, there goes that theory.
You were doing the episode's job for it, trying to make it more interesting than it ended up being. Did
you notice that when David Carradine hops down off of the thing, he tries to, and then they curtail, does he not say, cocaine, anyone? I swear to God, he says it twice. He said it, and I was like, you couldn't have heard that. They wouldn't have put that on television. And then at the end of the scene, he's like, cocaine, anyone? And then leaves. Maybe I'm wrong. I should read the script, but that's what I heard. Maybe that's what I wanted to hear.
That's what you wanted David Carradine to say.
It feels like he would share.
Yeah, he seemed like a groovy guy. By the way, hippie slang seems so natural coming out of David Carradine. Like, all of that dialogue could have been the worst if it weren't him. And it was effortless. And I was like, oh, so that's how people talk, instead of the awkward way people try to reproduce it.
It's because David Carradine's a great actor.
Yeah.
Was.
He still is.
Sorry.
Damn it. And speaking of damn it, stop doing Day for Night, everybody. Stop doing Day for Night.
That was real rough.
You can't do a werewolf story and do Day for Night. Just don't even do it.
Yeah. How long did you say they had for this? 5 days?
I don't know why they even tried.
2 days.
2 days. Jesus. Yeah. No wonder it looks so bad.
Yeah. They're not going to get a big lighting package out there.
I think it's more impressive that it only took 2 days and that it's not a complete mess.
I think it's well shot. I think there's some poetical looking shots in there.
It's a nice looking. It's a nice looking episode.
When McCallum's first venturing into the forest, there's a scene of this lamb running through the forest being pursued by the wolves, and it all looks gorgeous. It looks like a fairy tale. And then, unfortunately, we're right back to the Universal lot with most obvious lighting in the world, the sun, just because they need it for speed. But he managed to get a couple of cool shots. There's another one at the midpoint where they're on top of a hill where all the sheep, where McCallum walks down and scares the sheep, which another gorgeous shot. There are little moments of beauty in these episodes, and at least this one did not in any way feel set bound.
If they had just turned the camera around, they probably would have seen the Bates Motel behind them. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like where the older pictures of the Universal Backlot tour, that's what it looked like, the set that they were on. It looked like just out there in the Universal, like where they shoot stuff like this.
100%. It's like, where are you guys going to shoot? Over there. Look, this is not the best part of this one. It's okay. It didn't insult me. I was more confused, and then by the end, I didn't care.
Well, it just ends.
Yeah.
It just ends, and that's fine. But this is now, I think, I want to say there was an episode segment in the last episode that just ended too, but it worked better that it just ended. This one just goes, and that's it. It's okay. All right, I guess it's over now. Moving on.
Why even use wolves? Just make her a ghost that eats people. You know what I mean? Like, how about we're all vampires? Let's do vampires. That's a ghost and a werewolf together. Stop.
And vampires are what, 5 cents? You just get the little teeth? That's it?
Yeah.
If you even need the teeth, you just cover up the face, or Catherine Deneuve in The Hunger.
We didn't mention the finger.
What's that?
The finger, the index finger that we got to see 100,000 times. That was a bit of a failure. I didn't like that at all.
She has a really long finger. Just a really long finger. Only werewolves have long fingers.
It's the index finger is as long or longer than the rest of the fingers. It's the traditional lore. But guys, we get it. We're not going to get a transformation sequence, and we only have dogs instead of wolves. But we don't need to feature the one thing you could afford. Stop.
Painting number 1. It has to do with death. Usually the last chapter in every man's book of life. The ashes and the dust, the tomb, and the engraving on the stone. Death, the finale. But our first painting offers up a tale with the final curtain not quite the final curtain. There's an epilogue. We offer you now a little item called Cool Air. Tonight's first painting in the Night Gallery.
Cool Air was written by Rod Serling from a short story by H.P. Lovecraft and directed by Jeannot Swark. 22 segments, gentlemen. Jeannot Swark, 22 segments.
At least it's not Gene Kearney.
Wow. Thank God it's not Gene Kearney doing 22 segments. I think I would lose my mind. This one stars Henry Darrow, Barbara Rush, who, by the way, appeared in a TV movie called The Man, which was about the first black president, starring James Earl Jones. Written by Rod Serling.
Oh, yes.
Written by Rod Serling.
Such a great movie.
This is the tale of a May-December romance. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
It left me cold.
Oh, bing, bang. I'll set him up. You're not gonna...
Yes. I was waiting for that rim shot there, Chris.
Soundboard. Yeah.
There we go.
A little late on the uptake around here. We just got the soundboard.
Yeah, we're back in H.P. Lovecraft territory, though. Again, I can tell what's going on. Why are we supposed to not figure this stuff out? Yeah, the guy's dead. Like, I could tell you that right from the get-go. I don't know. I really wanted to like this one. Maybe if it was like half the length, I would have liked it a little bit more, but at the length that it was, and just that I could see the twist coming, yeah, it did. No joke, it did leave me cold.
Boy, they love H.P. Lovecraft, don't they? They really, really do. Look, I'm not going to say, oh, what a weird H.P. Lovecraft story to adapt, because look, H.P. Lovecraft in a lot of ways is like Stephen King. Like, he's got plenty of things to adapt, folks, and they're not all winners for a reason. Whatever the fuck the conceit of this episode is, that there is a man who is a living corpse because he lives in an icebox, you know what? Sure, fine, whatever. But that's like a 10-minute episode segment, not a 20-minute segment. Good Lord. And I'm not to jump ahead, but I'm not sure that criticism is not going to be leveled against both of these segments. I think they're both too long for what they're trying to do. I think this one is way too long for what the punchline is. And look, I'm not saying the punchline doesn't work. It's sufficiently campy and goofy, but way too long. Just way too.
It also doesn't help that it feels so similar to the one we just talked about on our last episode with the woman that was. Oh wait, what was that? Was it a woman that was being menaced by that thing, or am I completely mixing these up?
In Pickman's model,
Right,
yeah,
with
it's
Pickman's model.
Also H.P. Lovecraft.
And it's basically a woman comes in and is just like, oh, what is this stuff? And then, oh, there's a big monster or a big twist, quote unquote, at the end.
Yeah, it's a shame that they're on the heels of one another because the romance aspect is not present in the original H.P. Lovecraft story. And I actually think it's an improvement by Rod Serling in that regard. And if you read the original story, there's a lot of, he's supposed to be from Spain, so it's all phonetically written. Oh, a little Leetle. It's very embarrassing. Henry Darrow here, he's 5 years younger than Barbara Rush, playing a dashing older man. I liked him. I liked his performance a lot. I thought Barbara Rush was really good. There's another unnecessary wraparound, just like the Pickman's model in the last one, which starts in the present for no reason and then takes us back. That to me is the lamest part of it, is the Serling concoction that we're going to see the leaves blow off the top of the gravestone at the end and realize he's been dead twice. By the way, who put that there? She put that there? Why would that be on there? Weirdest thing ever. By the way, his name is misspelled on the grave.
High production values abound at midnight at the Night Gallery podcast. I guess this isn't the podcast has high production values. This show doesn't. Is this the backlot again, you think?
Oh, speaking of the backlot and high production value, at one point, like, this starts, it's a period piece. It's set in the 1920s, and she's in the back of what is basically a horseless carriage driving down the street. And in the background, the street is blocked off by a Universal Studios van. Oops.
Oh, jeez.
What are you implying, Father Malone?
Maybe shoot the scene at night?
I thought you were. What are you implying that this
maybe
is?
Put a fruit stand back there, or two guys carrying a pane of glass, anything other than a vehicle from 1971 just sitting there going, hey folks, the tour is right this way.
Hey, who was asleep at the wheel at this point? Huh? That's the question.
I blame Jeannot. But Jeannot did do something really cool here. There's a conversation scene when they're falling in love. It's a 1.5-minute pan around the dinner table. There's a join in it, but it's really masterful considering all the other limitations that they're saddled with. Also, the music in this episode, this was a guest composer, a guy named Robert Bain. He was an LA session musician. Was actually Henry Mancini's guitarist. And he was specifically chosen by Laird to do a Spanish flavored theme for this episode, and actually works really well as far as I'm concerned. Is this episode about, because Serling made it a romance, is this now a tale of necrophilia?
Jesus. Necromantic, written by Rod Serling.
I'm just saying.
If we're talking literally, then yes.
All right. Good for you, Rod.
H.P. Lovecraft was into some freaky shit.
Lovecraft didn't have anything to do with that part of it. That's all Serling.
Yeah, but the concept, though, it still lends itself in that direction.
The concept of necrophilia just goes way back to the beginning of civilization. We always had it with us. It just took Rod Serling to really popularize it. Use it in between commercials for soap.
Exactly.
I only use Ajax when I clean my bathroom. Now back to necrophilia.
It's the most romantic presentation of necrophilia I've ever seen. I was moved.
Yeah, when you think about it that way, boy, it really puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? You know what? Hey, I wish the payoff was in an episode segment half the length. That's really it. It's not a bad segment. I just don't think it gets to the point fast enough. And also, like, you're stalling as if we can't figure out what's going on. Was anyone surprised at the end that he was a corpse? Like, they hint at it a lot. Like
a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Also, this episode does contain, think the single worst performance in any segment we've seen thus far, which is that handyman, ice carrying guy, whoever he is. What's with the guy in there with he's got ice in the bathroom, just pulling all these faces like he's, I don't know, like he's auditioning for a Marx Brothers.
He's late stage Leslie Nielsen.
Boy, he was bad.
Painting number 2 in the night gallery, addressing itself to the strains and stresses of the married, having to do with the fact that there is more than one way to kill a cat, and more than one way to dispose of a wife. Our painting is called Stop Killing Me.
Stop Killing Me was written by Jack Laird from a short story by Hal Dresner. Cool Hand Luke's Hal Dresner. Zorro the Gay Blades Hal Dresner. Kind of a slide whistle situation there. This one was also directed by Jeannot Zwark, starring Geraldine Page, first of 3 appearances in the Night Gallery, and James Gregory only. This is about a wife enlisting the aid of a police officer because she believes her husband is slowly murdering her through worry. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. It does go on a little long too, but the length of this one is to sell the length is selling what they're going for, and it works here. She is so harried with him that he is just, fuck yeah, I see why this is the way that it is. That works here, and I enjoyed this episode, but I'm going to be biased because I love James Gregory. Now, again, when we started the Barney Miller show, not so much the case, but his characterization has grown over time and grown on me. But seeing him here is great. He's fun. She plays that character great. He plays that character great. And I love that they keep focusing on the photo of his wife on the fucking desk, because it is the funniest thing where he's like, yeah, you're right. I see. There's no one would ever think divorce. It's, oh my God, this guy is just so pent up and angry all day, huh? He's just been waiting for someone like her to walk through his door. And I love that kind of storytelling where it's like these two people were fated to be in this room together for 10 minutes, and it totally works.
I wish that Jeannot Zwark does something interesting in this episode where Geraldine Page will basically imitate her husband and repeat the lines that he keeps saying to her. And when she does that, we get these interesting cuts to almost like from the side all of a sudden, and she will turn to the side and start doing her husband's voice, not like literally saying what he's saying, and then cut back and she'll move back. And they did that a few times, but then they just started doing it kind of willy-nilly as far as where she was going to turn, to the left, to the right, to the straight, to wherever. I wish she had been a little bit more consistent with that, because I thought it was a good device. The way it ended up overall, I still liked it, but I thought it could have been a little bit more powerful as far as that went. But I thought that was nice. And I also like that, to your point, Chris, we have to spend this time. We have to take this time to hear the basically psychological warfare that this guy has been waging on his wife, letting her know that she has very little time to live. And when the payoff happens, I complain a lot about, oh, we know where this is going to go. I was really looking forward to this going where it went to.
This one is a flip side, not of Satan, but of the late Mr. Peddington from 2 episodes ago. Except here, instead of a woman talking herself into murder, she convinces another of the ease of which he can dispatch his own spouse. Starts with a great B-roll of the New York City skyline. Dingy, kind of 1970s look at the show, which I always love. I think Geraldine Page is so electric here. In that scene, those moments in particular, Mike, where she's pantomiming her husband, and we keep cutting to this unknown point of view. It's ultimately the viewer's point of view, or her point of view, because it's the husband talking to her and being so rude. The cuts are so jarring, but she's so funny. Mm-hmm. This is a horrible situation. And the things that this husband is doing to her is really beyond the pale when you really think about it. And the way her performance, just, I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. If only he could stop with the killing me.
And I really thought I knew what way this episode was going to go with that title. I thought that She was going to come in and it was going to be a DOA situation. I want to report a murder. Who's mine? But then I actually thought that she was dead and was coming in when she said, "My husband's killing me right now." I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like she's astral projecting or something. So I took this in a whole different way, but I ended up liking where it went, which was not supernatural whatsoever.
I thought that too. I thought that too when she said that. Because it was like, oh, because again, that's what it seems like there's some angle here. And it's just, no, he's almost like Pusher from the X-Files, where it's like,
Oh, that's cerulean blue. Yeah.
yeah, it's this weird, like, just suggesting over and over again that it's putting her on edge constantly. I can't even imagine what that would be like, but good Lord.
I don't think we needed the sound effect of her getting run over in traffic. That wasn't necessary. The plan of it was obviously working. She left that police station feeling really no better than when she came in. They're certainly no less safe. So just having the police officer talking to his wife would have been sufficient. I do think we hold a little too long at the end. A little too long on the picture of his wife. A little, like a minute feels like.
I was going to say, to your point with the sound effect, it almost seems like it was added after the fact. And I know it obviously was, but more like they didn't ask James Gregory to react to anything. Because I watched it a couple times and he doesn't react at all, but we hear it as the audience. It's like he would have heard it. He should have reacted. There should have been like a sly little smirk or a grin or something, and there's nothing. It feels like they gilded the lily just a little. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a pretty good segment. That is just too on the nose.
I think it's twice as long as it probably should have been, but I'm not in any way angry at it because I would watch Geraldine Page do just about anything. I think she's great here. Anything else about this one, though? I think it's just really solid. I'm glad we're getting them. Peaks and valleys with this show, gentlemen. Peaks and valleys. All right.
I like the idea that James Gregory is at one point, she asked him, "Is your wife still as beautiful as the day you married her?" And he just like stares at that photo just a moment too long. Just a No, you're right. It's just, again, James Gregory was the perfect person for this role.
You know what's funny?
Perfect.
While watching it, I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. He's so good. I'm like, I'm going to look him up so we can discuss him on the show. And then I saw the credits of Barney Miller. And I went, I'm not going to. I just closed my notebook. These guys can supply all the information we need to know about James Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
For the segment.
And he's playing a cop.
Yeah. Yeah, this is almost a prequel, but I don't think Luger took this career path. Plus, I don't think he would be married, according to Chris's theory.
My theory.
Yeah.
Hashtag Luger big gay.
Well,
maybe after that's why he's got to kill the wife. He's going to come out.
Yeah.
Father Malone, just two highlights off of Mr. Gregory's career. One, the role that he played in Manchurian Candidate. He was the husband, what's her name? Angela Lansbury. Really good role.
So good in that.
Yes. And then the other one is General Ursus, I believe is his name, from
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, yes.
Yeah, that voice, man. It's so good. He's great in this. As a two-person segment, a bottle thing we got here for 14 straight minutes, these two could have taken another 14, honestly. If they could have had some machinations added to this, would have been perfectly satisfied.
Strips of ethereal night clouds as seen from the vantage point of a square acre of tombstones, and the face of a neutral onlooker who surveys the silence. Well, perhaps not quite total silence, because the name of our painting is Whisper, and it tells the story of one body inhabited by two people. And at a point, as you can well imagine, this gets crowded. And if this one doesn't ice up the old spine, we'll send you one of our official apologies, along with the body. That's the kind of guarantee you get in the Night Gallery.
This is Season 3, Episode 13. It aired on May the 13th, 1973. The previous episode aired in March. They skipped the entire month of April. I wonder why that is. Because they couldn't handle the awesomeness of April of 1973. Anyway, this was written by David Raphael from a short story by Martin Waddell, directed by Jean Zwark. It stars Tony, hey Tony, no phony baloney. Tony the Tiger, LaRusso, Dean Stockwell, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Sally Field. It is the story of a young wife who's getting high on ghosts, and her husband is the dealer. Mike, what'd you think about this one? Don't. Nobody can see you whispering.
You couldn't hear me whisper that?
Vaguely.
That I didn't really like this one at all, especially the way that it ended. I had no freaking idea what was going on for so much of this one. And then it just ended. What the fuck? So what did I miss? What did I miss with it? That seems to be my thing for the shows. Can somebody please explain this to me?
Okay, very simple. Young couple, Stockwell and Sally Field. Sally Field is touched. She can communicate with the dead, or she's like a conduit for the dead. They can take her over and they can solve their problems, their unfinished business on Earth through her. And Stockwell has always known this and known it's true and is attracted to that aspect of it, even though it's frightening. And he's a little worried one time she won't be able to get back. She feels a pull across the country. And so they end up stopping in this small town where they've been living for about 3 months. And she keeps looking for this house over and over again. And then Stockwell here's the thing. Stockwell goes to a doctor to get her sleeping pills. At that point, the doctor is categorizing it as hallucinations. And he's basically blaming Stockwell for enabling these things. And he says, I've seen cases like this. The subject wants to go further. They don't want to come back. That's the setup for the end, because eventually the main ghost that's been haunting her, trying to find the summer house, it's another young bride whose child had died and their baby was interred incorrectly, and that has to be corrected. That's been the task the whole time.
Wow.
So Dean Stockwell plays the part of the husband, and he buries the baby, the proxy for the baby. But it's been happening for so long that what Dean Stockwell was worried about and what the doctor warned about comes to pass, and she can't get back to her body. The end.
Wow. So I was so confused because Sally Field through this whole episode is talking, I guess, with the ghosts.
Yes,
but she is the ghost at times, but she's talking with the ghost. And then Dean Stockwell, I guess he's talking to us, the audience.
yes.
Okay, see, that's the most confusing thing. You can't have one character talking to nobody and then have another character talking to nobody, but one character's talking to another character and another character's talking to us. That was really fucked up, man.
Mike.
I'm sorry, but
I'm with you,
okay,
man.
good.
It's fucking bizarre. Look, I like how you're like, it's my thing on this show. It's not yet things. Like, it's fucking when are you that?
That's what I feel like with this.
I mean, but to be fair,
how many times have I asked that on this show? And I'm not high while I'm watching these episodes. I swear I'm straight.
But to be fair, I was going to say, I did get what was going on, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, this is just this is just the spinning of wheels and the treading of water for 20 minutes. Just da, 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 da. And you know what? Dean Stockwell's fine. Sally Field's fine. Sally Field doesn't play crazy very well. She's just too goddamn endearing as an actress. And yeah, the ending is just...
Agree.
Oh, you need to see Sybil. She's
Yeah,
amazing
so.
in that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that.
Add it to
Barring having not seen that, this is not a very good representation of that, is probably a better way of putting it. And the ending is laughably bad. It's asinine. Oh my God. But so the question then becomes, if you can't get back to your body, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean she's just a catatonic shell, eyes rolled back into her head, can't do anything? Or is the ghost still in her body? Again, this isn't they don't explain it because they don't need to. They don't explain it because I don't think they have a way to explain it, because they spend 20 minutes doing everything in their power to try to show, not tell what's going on, and they somehow fail remarkably.
You just wait. Father Malone's going to love this episode.
I fucking loved this episode.
No, you did not.
I did.
Boy, that is the theme here. It's too hot, too cold, just right.
Sorry. It's the magic of Jean Zwark. No, I'm not. That's not the case. I'm not liking it just for Jean Zwark.
The magic of Jean Zwark should be the name of your next podcast, because I think at this point you have defended no director more ever in the history of anything we've worked on than Jean Zwark.
He's really good, and he does fucking really good work here, man. What can I tell you?
He's no John Badham, I'll tell you that.
He's at least Badham's equal, sir. Okay, here's what I liked about it. I liked the confusion at the beginning where, okay, first of all, it starts and it's typical of Night Gallery, the entire run of the series, where I think we've all been baffled for a good portion of every segment as to what time period this is. But this episode actually embraces that and makes us think that we're in some sort of like a little house on the prairie time. And then suddenly she's burning a plane ticket in the thing. I thought that was great. I do understand what you're saying, Mike, because she's talking to what I thought was her. I thought she was breaking the fourth wall. I thought she was talking to us initially, but then she's just talking to nobody. And then when we get outside, it's this slow pan of her and we get this voiceover. I thought we're getting a voiceover from Dean Stockwell. We're going to pan over and see what he's up to. And then we realize he's speaking out loud. And then is he narrating to himself? And then he turns to us. And it's so unnerving. Every time they've done it, and they've done it a lot this season, it works like gangbusters, man. And not only that, in this, he basically says to us, "You're dead." That was extra uneasy, thinking, I'm now supposed to be viewing this in the guise of a ghost. I'm just one of these floating spirits around her. And he keeps looking to us over and over again. He'll notice us, peering at them. I liked that a lot. I think, honestly, this is an episode that Rod envisioned. I know he had nothing to do with this episode, but this is what he wanted Night Gallery to be beginning to end, I think. These gentle character pieces with supernatural overtones. That's what I took away from it anyway. I do want to point out one thing. I haven't done this in some time, but there is another performer in this episode who deserves a bit of a spotlight. Here we go. Oh, that's Stormy Wind from the Hanna-Barbera library.
Oh, so good. I'm glad I had to hear it again.
I'm going to play it again because it comes up again later.
Oh, I know. It really, to the point where when I was watching it with my wife, she goes, "Can you turn it down? It's really obnoxious." And then I go, of all the times to be watching this in the evening as opposed to early in the morning.
So here's something cool. When William Hanna and Joseph Barbera left MGM to start Hanna-Barbera Animation, they took their sound editor from MGM, who in turn took with him a massive amount of sounds from the MGM library, which were then made available to all the studios in 1965 when Hanna-Barbera released it as their own soundtrack library. That includes Stormy Wind here. It plays a prominent role here. It's been played too often, too long. It is no longer in use, thank God, but it has appeared a lot in Night Gallery. It just was so prominently displayed. I had to point it out here. Yeah.
I am shocked that you like this, but to Mike's point, it is on brand. But that's not a bad thing. I think my issue is more in tune with where Mike is coming from, which is I really had a hard time understanding who the fuck was being talked to. And again, I ended up understanding what was going on. I don't know, coupling the weird storytelling with a very weak ending. Again, I'm really struggling to understand what the meaning of the story is.
Can I say something about the ending? I actually found it horrifying. That the concept, I know they don't explain to us what it means, but in my mind, she's just floating in the ether now and her body is a vegetable.
So it's like Get Out then. Okay.
Yeah. And now, not even that, but Dean Stockwell now is stuck with the notion that everyone has said to him, you shouldn't be encouraging this in her. And the doc even says to him, she's got all these things. What do you have? And he's, I've got her. So the horror here is that now he's caused this thing and this crisis of supernatural conscience, I don't know. It bothered me. It worked on me, this ending. What can I tell you?
I get it. You impassionedly describing it, I think, made me appreciate it a little bit more just now. Because it did a very poor job in expressing.
It's Dean Stockwell, man. He's just so goddamn expressive.
That's the best part of this episode.
Oh my God, he's amazing. I enjoy any chance to see him, and he elevates everything. And I don't think the script does him a disservice. Too often on this show, we've had really like powerhouse guest stars who have been ill-served by the script. I don't think the script ill-served anybody here.
I understand the problems you guys had with it, and I understand them. I don't know. This one just vibrated on a different frequency with me for some reason.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Dev Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production podcast network. We hope to see you online.